Welcome to your magic moon message. I know you see Bulbasaur. Yup, that's not your eyes tricking you. The moon is in Libra. The sun is in Taurus. And we are integrating, of course, this transit. Look at my body. Look at this. Look at this. I'm tucking my stomach in. Boom. I'm pregnant. But like, yeah, just mobbing with my sexy self out here. Libra is a social sign, so I'm like, why not be out again before I finish this and do this moon message? So we are at the last phase before we begin to harvest this new value, guys. We're gonna have the full moon in Scorpio this weekend, coming in the next week. And that's going to transform our understanding around the value we activated 2 weeks ago. And relative to the actions you've taken in late March through April, Aries season, to define your character as is updated, you're, of course, getting ready to harvest the value of such. Let's go a little bit deeper into that. So, of course, every year, Aries season, you have a firmware update. This firmware update in the Northern Hemisphere at the spring equinox of every year, regardless of where on the hemisphere you live, is a firmware update that over that 30 days from the equinox, you carve and define your character relative to the individual actions that you take. I'm not going to say that the solstice itself has magical properties with which you doing this makes it that way. I'm going to say during the solstice, we have equal day, equal night. As the sun begins to be longer than the night, the day begins to be longer than the night, let's just hypothetically assume that this is a firmware update, that every year you are reinitiating a new cycle by pointing into a new direction that you're going to step into relative to last cycle's conclusion. Pisces season reviewed everything we've believed relative to a previous cycle that influenced the new direction we go in. And now that we've done that, right, Taurus is the grounded quality that manifests the value of this character we're beginning to activate, that by summer we'll begin to integrate, and by fall we will have harvested. All right, end of the year we complete it, rinse, repeat, baby. So forget the fact that last year was a system reset. The firmware update that we usually have every year, what made last year unique, it was a system reset. And what makes next year unique is that we're going to have new hardware. Okay? So you have like a OS system update, but then you have like a hardware update. So that's why last year, this year, next year is huge. All right? The software that represents the evolution of your character since 2023 is going to now be, over the next 2 years, augmented with hardware to align with this. So Uranus in Taurus is representing instant manifestation relative to this context of unconventional value, of radical worth. You have to have radical worth to look into the universe and decide that you can manifest what you want now. All right? The reason why people who manifest instantly is because they don't pussyfoot and they don't waver when it comes to what they have decided their frequency is collapsing, as far as all different possibilities and uncertainty principles that they have decided this is what it is. Immediately bridge of incidents. That comes from a radical sense of self-worth. And that's what Uranus and Taurus has been training you to manifest since 2018. every single year since 2018, we would have 365 day cycles with the conjunction in Taurus. It was in Aries before 2010 to 2018. So relative to that, since 2018, where the radical activation of our identities from 2010 to 2018 shifted those cycles from cardinal action to quality. This is what brought the resurgence or the surgence of cryptocurrency, a radical way to define your wealth, where you could make meme coins and rug pull people, or you could actually build long-term projects that make your own literal currency. This is the Uranus Taurus, getting ready for Uranus Gemini, the 2000 and of course 25 to 2033 period is the smartification of everything. So the reason why we're gonna have smart cars that talk shit to you when you drive, why are you still late for work? Hey, shut up, car. Or we're gonna have more smartphones, we're gonna have smart houses. It's Uranus and Gemini. Now that this unconventional value and innovation of physical grounded technology, energy has, begun while Pluto, or is finishing while Pluto in Aquarius is awakening new energy revolution until like 2044. It's awakening in humanity, awakening into where humanity could be corrupt. So without kind of just piecemealing stuff, Uranus and the 365 day cycles with the conjunction in May, and then the Leo season, we begin to integrate it. Scorpio season, the opposition of Uranus, we harvest. Aquarius season, we now come into an awareness of the knowledge of the value of what we innovated. Every year since 2018, that I gave you the sequence of the cycles. Imagine doing that at increasing degrees every year since 2018. This is the very last year, the conjunction at 27 degrees Taurus, which signals, of course, this final innovation, which, if for the purpose of this analogy, Uranus and Taurus is you literally downloading an instant manifestation program through your natural five senses. This is that last software update that's going to really prepare for you to any kinks since 2018 that personally might have weathered through a lack of valuing yourself or certain blocked emotions. You've worked those kinks through. I can say that confidently, no matter who you are watching this, your sense of self-worth since 2018 is not the way it is now. Even if you're still not proud or pleased with it, you have to at least admit some growth. And even if there isn't, it was meant to show you what needed to be addressed, okay? So, but at this point, this full moon is going to prepare for the conjunction that's going to close out said cycle. And once again, the reason why that's very significant is now that we've kind of expressed the significance of Aries, why moving into Taurus is key, why Jupiter that evolved in Gemini is preparing all of society to integrate the creation of the new society, because Saturn has completed its end of the world cycle. It's going to go into Aries. We're going to soft launch the new world order. And so we have to already ahead of time begin integrating what the society your kids are going to live in, what these new concepts are. 95 to 2008, an entire generation of creators who are going to create the new world, they're going to start coming of age at the end of the decade. So everything is being set in place. All these international conflicts that actually have to happen because they're going to influence the way the world is going to look like in 30 years. And now where you fit into all of that is very significant. And this Taurus season is having you integrate at this final stage of initializing instant manifestation, completing this innovation of your self-worth, where you know you're doing it right because you know you're limitless. You're not trapped up in this materialist, reductionist pseudo philosophy that your net worth is attached to just physical assets and bank accounts. It's radical. Uranus is radical. If you're not radical enough to accept that you have limitless bands, look at me. You have limitless bands. You are worth limitless bands, almost as if you were a part of a trust at a soul level with latent equity and you were lied to about how much money you had because the trustees were corrupt and just decided to take advantage and make you feel like you have to pay them your own money, okay? Boom. You're waking up to the reality that no bank account can hold your value. So question, who conditioned and brainwashed you to believe anything different? And why do you hold their word over your own knowing of soul? Is it because of peer pressure? Is it because, oh, other people said I was wrong? You're not a coward, so are you willing to stand for yourself? These are all the themes of Uranus and Taurus that everyone is going through, even in ways that we clash with each other. So do you know I know for some people that's not cool. Oh, you have to be realistic. People will tell you to be realistic and then spend a dead currency with dead presidents on the face of that paper that's really just like a mortgage note, a pay you later note, and they'll say that's being realistic, fam. There's nothing more realistic about the fact that, yeah, we play this game, we participate in this social game with unspoken agreements, and we spend this monopoly money, but you're worth infinity. I don't mean that in like a positive way. We're all limitless. Don't let these people play you. Understand how much your body sells on the black market, and understand that your mind is infinite and that your spirit opens up many different possibilities just by consciousness alone. So I'm not trying to evaluate that relative to what's on the market or in the price, but you either know it or you don't. If you don't know it, you're going to seek external validation. You're going to try and make up for your lack of self-esteem because you think other people need to give that to you. If you know you're limitless, you don't care if other people see that or not. You have endless amounts of your own self to give to others. You actually understand that wealth is not something you have to receive in order to feel like you've made it. That's an old world illusion. We're done with that bullshit. And, now that you are coming in to this moon in Libra to integrate this final chapter of innovating your wealth, the last of which this happened was during America's Great Depression before World War II, because every time Uranus comes back into Taurus, very radical shifts in our financial world must happen to prepare for this new cycle. Okay, so yeah, very historic period. And now that the moon is in Libra, since the new moon where we activated this new value, we manifested the true understanding through Gemini, we expressed the emotional intelligence of what our value feels like. What is the feeling of our worth? What does it feel like when we instantly manifest and we're aligned with our values and what we want to do about it, where we integrate the social Leo, golden, courageous understanding to take your value on stage and have the courage to stand on what you're worth. And then we took the value to market, moon in Virgo, where we were coming into an analytical understanding like, okay, I feel like my shoes are worth 50. I did some research. They're actually worth 200. The person I haggled with tried to finesse me. Settle for 180. Cool. Or we settle for 210, right? And now that we have really changed our behavior around how valuable our worth is, that is what we're presenting with the moon in Libra. Now that we're applying this change of behavior, we're coming into a social balanced moon Libra understanding of how to apply this shift of behavior, how to apply this previous analysis over the past 2.5 days, and how to gain a social contextual understanding. What do I mean by that? Aries rising, the opposite of Aries moon, is an individual understanding. It's me at 3 a.m. in the morning with my eyes groggy as hell, and I don't care how I smell and how I look. I'm focused on how I feel. But if it was a Libra moon social understanding, I do suddenly care how my armpits might smell because I'm next to somebody, and Libra forces me to take into account the compromise of my space and other people's space and all sorts of contentious issues. So I'm getting a social understanding about my value. I'm understanding it. That's why I came outside for this. Whatever value you gain from me doing these messages, I'm out here socially seeing how, just by me being in the environment, how the value I bring to social situations post-market analysis actually integrates my sense of self-worth. How I'm not going to be too perturbed if people are too for it or too against it. We have a more realistic, detailed market analysis understanding through Moon in Virgo that will really now tie everything together and apply this more balanced, logical understanding in order for you to develop the behavior around how you interface your wealth and prepare you for that full moon in Scorpio, where now you're going to transform your understanding of said wealth, who you trust it with, and how that 2 weeks of activating up until now is going to harvest supernatural energy. and we're going to talk about that more of the full moon. You guys stay blessed as always, and until next time. I have to cut short because it's almost 15 minutes.